Governor Lamont says he will veto 2 bills that passed the legislature this year. One deals with striking workers, and the other is a plan to build more housing here in Connecticut. And your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, is joining us live at the state capitol, where the governor just made this announcement. Susan?
Good afternoon from the state capitol. Governor Lamont just said that he would veto those 2 bills. Now, when it comes to striking workers, that was not a surprise. In fact, the governor planned to veto that. He felt that it was in some way anti-business. He said it was a bridge too far and that it would send a wrong message to our businesses in the state, and didn't feel that it would protect jobs. But the housing legislation was a difficult one for the governor because it does, or attempts to address, something that is very critical in this state, and that is the severe housing crisis. But the governor felt that it is a bridge too far. He felt that in some way it was telling cities and towns exactly how many units they had to build, and he felt that that was too much.
I think for the housing to continue growing successfully, it has to be led by our towns. It has to be led by our first selectmen. It has to be led by our mayors. I just don't think it works if it's us against them.
We heard a lot of pushback from town managers and mayors across the state. They were very concerned about what they saw was a mandate. Now, under this legislation, towns would have 5 years to come up with a plan, or they would have to come up with a plan and show what they were going to do in 5 years. The governor feels that that's a good plan, but again, he does not want a set quota on exactly what they have to do. Now, the reaction to some of this is really mixed. Democratic leaders who have been pushing for this legislation say they're disappointed, but groups that represent cities and towns, well, they are on board with this. There would be some interference from the state if cities and towns, however, do not put forth a plan and do not try to make an attempt to build more housing in their town. What does this mean for some of those cities and towns, and what does it mean for lawmakers who now have to come back and revise and come up with a new housing legislation plan? Well, we'll have that later on Eyewitness News. Your chief political reporter, Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News, live at the state capitol.